Oh, this one's gonna be good. This one's gonna be so awesome. What's up guys, Eber here with Hurricane X. And normally if I were to receive a new GPU, an AIO cooler, or any other computer related hardware, it goes inside this, the NZXT S340 Elite. I love this case. It's one of the best chassis you can find in the market, apart from the P400S from Phanteks. This thing is compact and it houses my ATX motherboard, my 280mm radiator, and my monstrous GTX 1060 from MSI perfectly. I've been using this as my test system for about 6 months now, but recently I did a video comparing the auto overclocking capabilities of 5 different motherboards. And I've got to be honest with you, while the clock speeds and the voltages were surprising to me, it was a nightmare tearing apart my existing build and putting it together like 5 times with the respective motherboards. Now, a quick solution to this would be to acquire an open test bench, which would ease my way into swapping components. And believe it or not, I've been looking for one that would fit my needs. Fortunately, Streetcom reached out to us asking us to check out their BC1 open bench table. And what can I say? It was like Christmas to me when it arrived here at the studio. So let's dive in right after this.
Check this out, the Phanteks P400S, which is one of the best mid towers on the market, got a sexy upgrade, now with a tempered glass side panel with a comfortable rubberized mount to show off your gorgeous system with an RGB LED strip included. Get your glass on with the Phanteks P400S, plant not included.
Alright, so the Open Bench Table is a collaborative project between Streetcom, HWBot, and Overclocking TV. Talk about exceptional build quality, and the BC1 does not disappoint. It's crafted from a single piece of custom anodized aluminum, but it's also aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Weighing in at about 4 pounds, it's surprisingly lighter given the robust construction, and it's super portable because you can toss it inside a backpack if you're a professional overclocker traveling for events, plus the integrated carry handle is a nice addition. There are 5 types of screws that come pre-installed on the main body, and they're the ones that we'll be using to mount the hardware. The assembly process was fairly simple. These guys have precisely engineered the mounting holes along with storage options, so it's essentially a one-size-fits-all solution. Building the bench didn't take that long. The first step was to remove the feet attached to the main body by unscrewing these 4 screws and then mounting them back from the top through these enlarged circular holes. Next, I installed the motherboard standoffs, which were a combination of these push pin and standard variations. This was done to set aside a few for the standard standoffs for the PCIe mounts, which would later on be occupied by the GPU. However, I'd like to point out that the user might come across leftover push pin standoffs. They were ideally designed for the motherboard, but I just prefer using the standard ones for a more secure fit. What do you guys think? Standard or push pin? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, these standoffs are fairly high enough to offset the motherboard from the main body, and the reason I say that is because the CPU backplate can be easily accessed from the bottom. So if you intend to swap coolers occasionally, you won't have a problem with installing the CPU backplate. The power supply attaches directly to the right side foot under the table. It only requires 3 screws for mounting, and I had the PSU fan facing upwards for appropriate airflow. The BC1 supports dual 2.5-inch or dual 3.5-inch drives. They are vertically mounted right underneath the PCI lanes, and I was comfortably able to accommodate my Corsair SSD and my game library drive. This is a brilliant design by Streetcom, and I appreciate the idea of using the given space as effectively as possible. Next up, I decided to install my all-in-one liquid cooler from EVGA, and during that process, I realized that the bench table only supported radiators up to 240mm. The CLC280 that I was using featured a 280mm radiator, which the BC1 didn't support, so I decided to swap that out for the X42 from NZXT. It features a 140mm radiator, and they were mounted through these provided brackets, which by the way pivot in order to fit different spacings. There are a couple more brackets left if you intend to use a hybrid water-cooled GPU, just like the ones you see here. Finally, all I had remaining to install was the GPU, and it was a fairly simple process. I aligned the card with the PCI screw, popped it in, and tightened it with the included PCI nut. It was similar to mounting a GPU inside a case. You may experience clearance issues connecting a display cable towards the I/O because it ultimately depends on the type of GPU you decide to install. I had no problems connecting it to my monitor, but be mindful of that. Given the awesome build quality of the BC1, the test system after the building process felt sturdy. There were no signs of wobbling apart from my desk that wobbled when I placed the bench on top of it, but I blame the carpet for that. I wanted to touch base a little bit on cable management because considering this is an open test bench, You can use the cutouts inside the body to route the cables, but in my case, I just ignored that because I'm still waiting for some custom sleeve cables. Once those arrive, I'll make sure to step up my game in that department. The open bench table does occupy a little more space on my desk compared to the S340, and that's obvious given its nature because the S340 is a closed chassis with a narrower base. Also note that just like any other open test benches out there, these guys are prone to accumulate a lot more dust than a case. So there are ups and downs to the product, but it ultimately depends on the end user's choice.
Oh hey there, NCIX.com is Canada's leading e-tailer for anything your mind desires. Just keep within those categories, which are plenty, and get tempted by the weekly deals. Visit NCIX.com for all them sweet deals.
Well, there you have it. My experience switching over to the open bench table. I like to emphasize that this was a collaborative project between Streacom, HWBot, and Overclocking TV. These guys have spent countless hours designing and perfecting this beauty. It all started out as a community project with one goal in mind, and that was to create the ultimate, robust, and portable open test bench for enthusiasts and overclockers who travel around for events. I love this thing, and I'm happy to have it beside me because I can quickly swap out components without going through the struggle that I had to deal with inside the S340 or any other case in this situation. Now, I need to warn you that this is an expensive investment, priced at $160 for the silver edition and $40 more for the red and black editions. You may have to think twice before buying the bullet. It's not geared towards every consumers out there, but rather people who work in the tech industry as reviewers, overclockers, and enthusiasts may find it justifiable. This is a unique product, one that's very hard to find in the market, and it excels in everything we care about in an open test bench. So we're giving it the Hardware Canucks Damn Good and Damn Innovative Award. Good job, guys. So I want to hear your thoughts on the BC1 open bench table. If you guys have any feedback on the product, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to check them out. I'm Igor with Hardware Canucks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.